Zlurpcast on TV. Biran, Xtreme, Valdric. What are we talking about today? Your blanket? What is that?
I got nothing.
Net for Riot Quest.
Xtreme did it better. No, cut to Xtreme immediately.
Oh.
There it is, Riot Quest. So Riot Quest is a game by Privateer Press, and I think that people who have played games like War Machine and Guild Ball might have tried it, even though it plays more like a board game, right?
Yes.
So tell me about this game.
Mike, tell us about this game.
Okay, all right. So it's a very fast-playing, we'll call it a board game for lack of a better term, that does play with some miniatures. Your goal is to get 7, they're not called victory points. What are they called? Are they called victory points?
We're very professional.
What?
We're very professional.
Yeah, we are. I should have read the rules beforehand, but
so Mike doesn't know anything.
I clearly don't.
And Biran's draping himself in mats for no reason.
I'm just gonna drink my big mug here. But anyways,
this is literally a Riot Quest right now.
Yes, for sure. So you need to get 7, we'll call them victory points, and you can get those by either killing other models, which is always fun. You get 1 called scrap points that get converted into victory points, or you can complete these. God, what's the term? They're like quests or
bounties. Are they what? Are they
bounties? Bounties. Thank you for that. I really should have read the rules beforehand. But yeah, so you get that from bounties for doing certain things. Like I forgot what some of them. There's one where.
Shoot. Do you want me to read one?
Yes, please. Save me.
So you flip them over. I think you have 2 active at a time. 3 active.
Yeah.
So this one is place a malfunction token on a random spawn gate, and then you have to move a character over and rig that, I believe, unless they are indicated at the bottom of the card, and you can do it for free, right?
Yeah, if you're a certain class, you get an extra white die to roll, which never hurts. But
does every faction have like different classes within there then?
No, there are no factions. It's kind of like Judgment in the sense that you just have the models you have, but each model's got a specific class. And certain classes do better at rigging certain types of chests than other classes. They get a white die bonus, which isn't great, but any bonus is better than none. So, but again, the class, at least for the base game, pretty much the class only comes into effect for those particular bounties.
Do people draft characters then? Is that kind of how you play this?
No, you just play with the miniatures you have. So if we both have the same character, that's fine. But you get a pool of up to 10 models. And
there is actually, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a card that can come up where if you kill a model that's the same as the model that you have, you get bonus points for doing that. So it's like, I think it's called freaking imposter
or something.
Yeah. You kill them, then you get bonus points for killing the same model, but you can have the same models on both sides.
I was looking at some of the models earlier, and some of them are really detailed, look really cool. There was one guy, Boomhowler?
Yeah.
Is that the guy? Boomhowler's on King of the Hill. Boomhowler is the big gun, right?
Yes.
Big minigun. Yeah, that guy. So are there races? He looked kind of orcish.
He's a troll.
He's a troll blood. It's based in the War Machine world, but it's an alternate future. So some of the very few of the characters have survived, but everybody else is pretty much dead. So there's just like all this scrap that you're running around and collecting. So it's like a post-apocalypse War Machine type world, but the game isn't War Machine at all. It's much quicker, much simpler.
These are all characters, and you're trying to achieve what's kind of like the end game of the story, or is it just fighting?
Go ahead.
It's collecting the loot and the treasure and the equipment that's around and money, basically. You're all, I don't know, loot hunters. So
they're trying to survive basically in this post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. After all the armies destroyed each other's kind of thing. Kind of.
Well, I mean, if we want to get into the background, basically this like demon race came and wiped everything out, and it's very complicated. It would
Brian
take
sounds
hours.
embarrassed of his knowledge of War Machine lore.
A little, but that's all right.
Is it any more out wackadoo than like 40K lore, really?
No, it's very similar. It basically be like Gene Stealers finally win and wipe out everything else, but there's still a few Marines here or there that lived through it.
Yeah. And
I don't-
now, every character in Riot Quest, are they named characters in War Machine / Hordes?
Not all of them. I would say at this point, maybe half of them. The other ones are new characters that are made for Riot Quest. But all there is crossover rules for all the models in Riot Quest. They made rules in for the War Machine army, so you can use those models there too if you wanted to.
Are they good in War Machine? Are these like elite soldiers now, or are they kind of like not?
Yeah, most of them I've seen so far are kind of like flavor pieces, whereas they're not really good. But if you wanted to use it, it might have like one specific use, but it's not something that you have to have.
So probably intentional, because I know in 40K they've got like a 40K Warhammer Quest type game where those characters, you can use them. None of them are very good though. It's more of just if you want to use them, it's kind of cool, but they'd rather squash this guy's OP before it even starts, I guess.
Well, it seems similar to Warhammer Underworlds, where you could use them in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
As special units and stuff like that, but they're probably not super must-haves or something like that.
So sorry, continue on, Mike. We all have our crews and we're running around and getting these things and we're winning.
And yeah, and you can, they also, whenever you kill something or in various chests, you get loot tokens and you can use those to buy riot gear. And you have a hand of riot gear. And so you've got like, just say you own 20 models. So you've got 20 models, each model comes with their own riot gear. When you sit down to play, you have a pool of up to 10 characters. So that means you have a hand of up to 10 riot gears. So the more models you have, the more choices you have for spawning different models, as well as the more choice you have for riot gear. Some of the riot gear are 1 or 2 loot tokens. Others are 4 or 5. Obviously, the ones that cost more have a much higher value. But again, once you buy riot gear, you can give them to a given model, and they can use that up until the point in which they die. So it isn't like if they respawn, they get to keep that riot gear. It's just
think of it like, I'm going to put this cool gun on this guy, and it's going to give me an extra attack dice at range and stuff like that.
Yes, but then he's got a big old target on his back. If it's really good, you want to take him out. So.
And once that character dies, you don't get that card back either. It doesn't go back in your hand. It's just gone. So they're like one-time use.
So
yes.
I know on a previous Zlurpcast podcast, Xtreme and I talked about the game Judgment. It sounds like there's some similarities to that.
Oh yeah. It's a MOBA style game,
yeah.
I guess. I was privy to a discussion between Chad and Tony about the comparison between Judgment and Riot Quest, and it got way above my head. But Riot Quest plays a lot faster. It's on an actual hex, so you're just counting hexes. So you don't have to do the exact positioning that you do in Judgment, which is amazing.
The term is fussy. It's way less fussy.
Yeah. Oh, so much.
About that in the past, I mean, even when we were trying to play Guild Ball, I think I remember bringing it up to a group saying, what if we played in a hex board and like, in unison, 1,000 Guild Ball players shit on me at once about that. But I was like, well, what if there was a version of it like it? So it sounds like by taking the moving or the measuring out of it, it allows you to focus on what you want to do a little more.
Yeah. I love Judgment, but you spend like half the turn just trying to get that perfect position, and then you take your ruler away and you end up bumping something. And then it's like, so it's.
I like the idea of Judgment. I played at Adepticon last year and got destroyed and realized, you know what? As cool as I think it is, I don't think it's for me. And not to mention, it's one of those hard sell games. When you go to somebody, hey, check out this game. The models are $50 a pop. It's like, it's a bit of a hard sell, even though the end game cost isn't a lot. So in Riot Quest, it sounds like I did some research early on because I haven't played before. It looks like you get a box, you get a handful of models for $40-$50. Are they resin or are they plastic?
They're metal. They're mostly metal.
Metal and resin mix. Yeah. Some of them have both. Some have just metal.
I saw a really cool chick, like a Edward Scissorhands kind of chick.
Oh yeah.
In there. So like it looks like some really good looking models. How are they to assemble and paint?
Not bad.
Yeah, I found them very easy to assemble. They're metal, so you should probably pin them, but the pinning was quite simple. Very little flash on the models themselves. And,
a lot of character too. The models have a lot of character to them. None of them are. They all look unique for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the character the models have, and then they all have like a slant towards being less serious too. So it's not like super serious. I'm in war. It's kind of and the bright colors on the mats and everything kind of make it feel a little more fun. And
when I was doing some research, it looked like a comic book style. Is that sort of the intention?
I'd say so.
I mean, it feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not grimdark. That is for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It is neither grim nor dark.
So, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it plays with if you're familiar with Monster Apocalypse, it plays with the same dice. You have the dice pool, and so therefore you may not get to move all of your characters in your turn because you have to allot dice to do certain things. And if you really want to hit someone hard and you put 4 dice into it, there goes your pool. So you got to kind of.
Which is something I really like in games too, where if you wanted to like have one guy just go on like a Rambo maneuver and you just dump all your action dice into it, you can, but then you're just going to sit back and take a beating from someone that's going to spread it out over 3 or 4 models. And
I think there's some people who like that and some people who don't. I think when we play Guild Ball, that was like that too. You want to have one person and 1 or 2 do everything. And I think that if you are looking for that type of gameplay, it's probably one to check out because the people that like that, like you, Xtreme, you might want to have, all your eggs in one. Whereas if you were playing a more typical kind of skirmish game where you've got more models and everyone has their action to do, it's a little different. So this is very much, if you wanted to go a certain style, you can play the game to that style, right?
Yeah, but you randomly pop up on the map in different places. So you may have to use models that you didn't plan to use because they're closer to the treasure, where the model you really wanted to use is kind of off on his own. Then,
that's one thing I really like about it. It makes you use models you may not use in certain situations. And bringing it up to Monster Apocalypse, which is also a great game, don't get me wrong, this is easier for my head to get around. Whereas Monster Apocalypse, for me, the game starts early and I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then you get towards the end where there's a right way where you can win, and it causes me to vapor lock and my brain hurts.
Whereas, are there multiple ways to win?
Well, yeah, but it's like the optimal move is this to this to this. This is how you win the game. Whereas in Riot Quest, it's way more random, and you don't have to. You're reacting more than planning, I think, in Riot Quest, which I like. I'm more of a reactive player than a planner.
It is a very random. It feels very much like a party game. I don't want to say beer and pretzel because I hate how overused that is, but you can play 2 to 4 players with Riot Quest, and it doesn't really change the game because of all the randomness. You're just making it even crazier the more people you put into it.
How long is an average game?
Like what you say when we played, about 40 minutes?
Yeah, I was going to say 40 minutes to an hour at the longest.
Pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, it goes quick. And, yeah. I think Tony described it as like the, what's that, Super Smash Brothers or something like that? What is it? Yeah. Clearly not my game, but yeah, it played like you guys were saying, when a model dies, you can respawn, but it's random where it goes, because you end up like that map that Biran had up on his chest at first, that there's actually like 2 halves of that map, and so because it's on 2 ships. Yeah, there. So the first game we played, everyone was on one side except for one model that was on the other. Just, again, random. And
we didn't like this map as much as the base map.
Yeah, the base map, it's uniform. There's no difference. And that one's got a little bit more strategy, I guess, to it in some ways. But I haven't actually seen the new temple map yet. But
is that a 3x3 map?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is one of the cool things with the maps too, that each map has a reason for having it. Like the ships are 2 separate ships is very different than the arena, and then the temple is going to have different levels. So you have different elevation levels you have to get across. It'll be different. And once they get into their organized play, because there's like multiple different ways to play. I think most of the people here on Zlurpcast TV will probably just play whatever models you want to just play. But there's different organized play things where you can only play certain seasoned models. So it's almost kind of like Magic, I think, does the same thing.
Or even Underworlds.
Yeah, so I play a lot of Underworlds when there's cards you're just not supposed to use anymore, as they've been aged out of things for various reasons. So that's kind of, I mean, it keeps things current. Some people may not like that because it means they have to buy more stuff. Other people like that because it means some balance is coming, right?
Yeah, I think it's only going to be used in their attempt to have competitive events. I really don't see the game as a competitive game, but they are going to have organized play, I guess would be the better term. I think that would be the only place they're really going to use that, where they limit what models you can use. Everyone else is just going to play with everything because there's no reason not to. I haven't seen any model where it's like, oh, you have to take that model because it's so good.
Do you have any painted models, Xtreme?
I have 2 characters, and then some of the spawn gates and the treasure chest I have painted too.
Can we see them? Oh, here we go. Is that Biran?
Yeah.
The head's too small.
Look at that deep belly button. You just want to throw it in there.
So that's Butcher, or what's his Riot Quest name?
Gives a no, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or I forget his real name. He's always been Butcher to me.
Yeah.
But I bought him before the other Riot Quest stuff because he could be used in my War Machine army as well. So it was kind of a dual purpose purchase. And then I have Leadfoot and.
Oh man, I don't have that one. I got to get that. That looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 2 dudes riding a little tank. So that's pretty cool.
And I'll put some links up to Xtreme's painting Instagram stuff, so you could get better images of this.
Yeah, he's shitting on your camera right now, but that's all right.
That's fine. No, from a painting standpoint, one of the things I really like about this game too is that each model is its own, so I don't have to worry about the models matching or being uniform at all. I can just pick it up and be like, whatever I want to paint this model, that's what I'm going to paint it to.
You're like, oh shit, I got to paint a bunch of red. This is going to suck.
Yeah.
Do you find people sticking with the themes on the cards or doing their own thing?
A little bit of both. I'd say it's pretty even. I'd say about half the people are probably sticking to the stock artwork for their color choices and stuff. But.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that many painted models, I'll be honest with you, but
I have one guy fully
painted. I have 3.
There is still a lot of people doing the comic book style painting with them.
That gets a little overdone, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing a trend in painting catch on so quickly and just like explode like that. I don't.
Do you think do you think maybe Crisis Protocol was the precursor that caused that explosion?
Well, I think it was around before that. I think it started before.
Yeah, Montauk had a lot of that in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Montauk,
more great models. I think Riot Press is hitting out of the park with both these game systems as far as models go.
I saw people doing like bases that kind of looked like it was 3D, where it looked like that over the top kind of outlining to make it look almost, the comic booky, or what was that miniatures game like Pulp City or something, where it was like very comic looking. It seemed like, people kind of wanted that look. So that was the first thing I saw. When I saw the models, I didn't know at first it had anything to do with War Machine, because it looked way brighter and way different. Yeah. So I had no idea until I saw who made it.
Yeah, as far as what you were saying about the models for Montauk and for this game, like they're all awesome. And then I look at the Warcaster game coming out, and all those models just look so uninspired. Like, I think it's going to be a really good game, but I look at the models and I'm like, all right, so which army do I want? I scrolled through them all. I was like, none of them. I want none of them. So I guess I don't have to buy that game.
Well, my concern with this game has been, and it was the same thing with Montauk, where it comes out of the gate with the starter box and everyone's pumped, and then shipment delays, out of stock, and it just dies on the vine.
Was this a Kickstarter or no?
No. But Privateer Press has had distribution issues for too long now. And if you can get a hold of the game, if your store can get Privateer Press stuff, awesome. It's an awesome game to get into, I think. But yeah, there's definitely some problems there.
Have you contacted your local press ganger?
They got rid of them.
Oh, right when you submitted your application, they say we're done, huh?
No, with the whole Magic the Gathering judges and stuff, they got rid of the press gangers.
Got to keep the bad touch people out.
Yeah, it's always those kind of things, those companies that have clubs with free help. It's always people who you don't want taking the job, which sucks. Like, oh, this guy, it's like, well, it's free help. They're going to take anybody.
Yep. What does it pay? That people always have to ask.
For an average game, is there about 5 or 6 models per side?
4 to 10.
10, but what, 4 on the board per side at any time?
Yeah.
You never have more than 4 on the board.
And one of the other things I really like too is that if you're ever below 4, you automatically spawn in another model. So you're never at a point where like, oh, I played a 4-person game and 3 people teamed up on me. Now I don't have anything to do. You guys all suck. But I'm spawning stuff out for free, so I have something to do.
And Mike and I played 2 games, and they were both 1 point win by 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, that's a good sign. When games are close, that's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, both of them, it could have gone either way.
It came down to the last turn.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it too is are you drawing bounties from a deck so you don't know what you're going to get, right?
Yep.
And everyone's got the same bounty.
You'll just, I could get this one easy and he can't. Boom. Good, lucky for me. But like everything, it swings both ways, like me.
Yeah, and I think it's a game where there's definitely some aspects of it that you'll get better at as you play more, but because of the level of randomness to it, you're never going to be in a position where, well, I've been playing the game for X number of years, I'm just going to stomp you. I don't think it's ever going to be at that point.
Do you build a deck to start with, or do you really have no say in what's going in those?
The bounty decks and stuff?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, the bounty decks?
Yeah.
You have deck choices to choose from. They have, I think, 2 out now. The one in the starter, and there's 1 additional one. So you choose which one you're going to use, but that deck is pre-constructed.
You pick your Riot gear, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Your Riot gear can be customized. So you can kind of build, you just have to use the number of cards equal to the number of models.
Yeah.
So that gives you, it's one of those things that a lot of games do that I kind of hate, but where the Riot gear card is with a certain model. So if you wanted that card, you'd have to buy that model, whether you wanted the model or not.
I think
not a game for hobos.
Well, and we're also getting used to that now. I mean, you can hate it all you want, but I think a lot of us are used to that because we've seen several games that do that.
Yeah, I want to say X-Wing was the first one I remember doing it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but even they got away from it because with the Star Wars game Legion, they released the card packs by themselves. So I wonder if this is successful enough if Privateer Press was.
Yeah, but they waited a long time to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they don't. I mean, so they want you to buy all the different things, like many of us do now. But it's kind of a, like you said, Biran, it's not miniature games in general aren't hobo games.
No.
But I think what a lot of these companies do is they say, we're not going to be Warhammer. You don't need an army to play. So people go, oh, that's awesome. I could play for $100. But then there's ongoing purchase. It's like a video game where there's in-store purchases or downloadable content. So whereas GW says, fuck all that. No, you're going to drop $1,000 up front. They say, we'll get out of you if you want to win. You can get by playing on the cheap, but if your gaming group is building and building, you got to keep up a bit, I guess.
Well, yeah, and we ran it even in our gaming group. We always start like, hey, we'll start building our army slow, and then it starts one-upmanship. I'm like, I just got this. Well, crap, now I got to get something.
Yeah, the arms race begins.
Yeah. I think the first time we saw it was with 7th edition Warhammer. Well, I got to get a flyer now.
Yeah, you and I were like, you got a flyer? I got a flyer. You got this? I got this. And it becomes, at a certain point, you got to just, you've got to strike a deal.
Yeah.
If only the world leaders would listen to gamers. We can tell you how to, I'm not going to say it's going to be peaceful, but we will strike a deal.
The only one that wins in that game is Todd.
That is true.
With the games at this level, having like constant purchases like that, I almost look at it as like a subscription plan, though.
Yeah.
Like if you want to keep playing this game, just keep paying your X amount per month, and you can get new stuff. And
it's sort of like games as a service.
Well, living card games have been doing that for a while now. So those kind of games say, well, you could just buy a base set and a expansion, but you probably want to get the new one every month, even though it's probably 50 cards and or 60 cards and it's only 20 uniques and 3 times each one or something. But you get them and you have them, and that is sort of your subscription for playing the game. So I think people are just accustomed to it now. So you can prefer one style to the other, but none of these are unique in terms of how to sustain a revenue generating from these games.
It's just right. Privateer Press can maintain their distribution channel, which it doesn't seem like they can. If they're on the ball, I think Riotquest would be doing a lot better.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's kind of a situation where it's not really, they don't have a problem with their supply. They have plenty of stock of the models. It's just getting them to the stores through distribution is an issue. But if you can pre-order them on the initial release, it's usually pretty easy to get the models, but it's hard. It's a hard sell to go to the game and be like, okay, you have to pre-order everything you want before the pre-order date expires.
And then I want to buy from Todd,
right.
help his store to make sure we still have a place to play.
Well, I mean,
you have to have a game store that's going to be active enough to do that, and it's not the way it should be.
Exactly what I was going to say. Is kind of this sounds like one of those games that you have to have a gaming group to really get its full due, because it's not going to sell itself. A store may not want to support it because they don't see the support on the other end. So there's a lot of games. I mean, I don't count Games Workshop in this because it's kind of its own thing, but other games either suffer from we don't make it easy for a store to push it and support it. And, some games do. And this one is probably going to be more gamer driven. Having it be Privateer Press and the connection to War Machine helps big time. It's not an independent game manufacturer, but it does have its hurdles, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the carryover from War Machine players to it, too, I think is going to be minimal. I think the people that you will get that will cross over will play it as like a side game before or after War Machine. Or, War Machine is losing popularity, whether people want to admit it or not. It is on the decline. Not even because of anything with the game. I think mass battle games in general are on the decline, and people are going more and more towards skirmish level, easier to get into games. And I think this is a good place where it's catching some of those people that are kind of bailing on that and finding something that's more manageable.
Do you hate the idea that, because you mentioned earlier about the Biran pretzels terminology, like is this supposed to be like all right, the game I'm really here for, it's done, let's just relax, have a couple of beers and roll some dice? Is this, I mean, it's kind of funny because if it's a game you play and you don't play the other ones, you think it's as complex as you want, but for War Machine players, do they kind of think, is this just a side game, not really put much thought into it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they think that way, but it definitely fits that mold. Like, this is definitely more of a laid-back game where after you've already, racked your brain all day long, you can sit down and play this and just have a good time and just let things happen on the board, and you're just all laughing and joking around. So this would fit that bill.
Biran, have you ever laughed and joked around while playing it?
I do everything. Okay. That being said, I'm sure there'll be some a-holes out there that'll take it super serious. Talk about the meta. What's your local meta in Riotquest? And we'll ruin it for all of us. Well, not for us, because we only play with our own group.
Yeah. You were going to say the name, I thought. It sounded like you were going to say something.
Say a specific name?
It sounded like you were going to say, we only play with, and then you said our own group. I just didn't know.
Friendly ass grognards.
Oh, cool. Cool initials, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of, I think you've summed up sort of the idea of the game a bit. For someone to jump into it, do they pick a box, or do they buy models they think are cool? How does that work?
Right now, there's just one starter box, and you really need the starter box. I mean, you can get by without it, but you need someone to have the starter box at least, and it's going to be a lot easier for everyone to have the starter box.
But if you have a group, though, do you want people to buy different things so you can sort of, I mean, I know I mentioned earlier about the drafting idea, but I would imagine amongst friendly players, you try not to have duplicates. I've never been a big fan of that in any game. I just think duplicates are stupid of named characters. So I would imagine you try to get a nice mix, right?
There's not enough out yet where that you're going to have duplicate, you have to buy the starter. I think you have to buy it. And the thing is, it's not a starter. You can't play with that starter only, not really. So until the model base expands significantly, you're going to have duplicates.
And there are plans for different starters down the line. I think Gen Con was supposed to be a new starter box that would have different models and a different map and stuff. So at that point, you'll have options. You know, go back and get the old starter or get this new starter. It's a little bit different. But you probably do need a starter. I mean, if you try to get by without it, it'd be kind of putting the effort in that people do for like print and play type stuff. Like
do you think they'll have a 2-player box set with a lot of shit in it so you can just
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's always going to be 1-player starters, and you have to find someone else to play with.
I've never been a big fan of it. I like the idea of, you know, somebody's first purchase, get it, go home, play. You just gotta get one person. I like with any game, I like the idea of 2-player starters because we don't know. I mean, you'd like to think that an experienced gamer is going to pick this up, but what if this is their first foray into miniature skirmish gaming.
A normie, if you will.
A normie, yeah, it's true. I mean, a lot of normies, they come via Games Workshop, but some of them are coming via Legion, because it's Star Wars, or coming via X-Wing, or coming via Game of Thrones, other IPs that are, you know, can lure somebody in who doesn't normally do this kind of thing. And I just think that you got to make something, in my opinion. I like seeing 2 basic factions, plastic, snap kit, small rule book, get it on the table and play. If you want to go ham, if you will, then get this, and this. But I like seeing that starter set for normies and for people who just want to just put a little toe in. They don't want to try the whole thing yet, you know?
So like Blitz Bowl.
Yeah, very. Yeah. I mean, Games Workshop, I mean, I'm not trying to.
Great starter.
Yeah, they do certain things very, very well. Besides having great miniatures, they know how to get point of purchase, like impulse sales. They're so good at that. Like I have somewhere on my shelf here, I have like a game that has 2 flyers against each other. I don't give a shit about the game. I might play it one day, but it was like, well, I could get models and it's this and that, it's a discount, all that kind of thing. They're just masters at that. And I think other game companies could learn a thing or two. I mean, when we were playing, you know, Drop Zone back in the day, there was a starter kit with plastics. They didn't look as good as the resins, but they got you some stuff right off the bat, and they got you on I think that, I don't know, maybe it's just because I spent some time making a game. I think about the idea of the minutes from purchase to table. Like, how long can I go from purchase to table? Do I got to assemble stuff? Do I have to paint stuff? Usually no. And I like that there's stuff for advanced gamers, but I would really like to see this game have a 2-player starter set with plastics in it one day. Guild Ball eventually did it, right? They didn't do it initially.
Yeah, do it like them where it's you don't need the super hyper detail of a metal or a resin miniature. Just do the single piece,
right?
Board game plastic. Put it a set where you could actually play and push that.
Yeah, and you know, if experienced gamers want to look down on it, I don't give a shit. I mean, I just think that the idea of getting that helps a store big time. You know, I don't know if Todd's carrying or not. If he is, it's probably because of you guys. But let's say you didn't exist, and Todd at Grognard Games gets hit up by a rep from the company or his distributor, talks about it. He's going to look at, how do I sell this game? Warhammer sells itself. How do I sell this game? And I think ease of getting people into it makes a big difference. I just think that games like this, or you know, people play like Infinity and stuff, like you got to have, I think, an easy way to jump in. Otherwise, it's going to suffer from gaming group only game, and it might just become that.
Which I'm okay with too. You know,
but
as long as it's enough where they can continue to support it. You know, they're making enough money where they're motivated to continue on.
You mentioned Privateer Press with their stock issues in game stores. That's the shit you have to do, though, in my opinion. Like you can't be so niche where it's not easy for a game store owner to go, you know what? Let me get 10 copies of the starter. We'll put it on an end cap and see what happens. If you can't give that to a game store, the game store is going to second guess any money spent on it, and it becomes a club game only. So I didn't even know much about this game. I went to my local store here in Colorado. I didn't see it anywhere. And it's like a Games Plus kind of store where they got everything. I didn't see it. And so I had to go online and look it up. And I was shocked that it was Privateer Press, because I'm like, how the fuck is it a big name company doing it but I didn't really know a lot about it. It should have been an indie game. So I want to see it succeed. I know 3 of you are into it. I haven't really got into it at all, but I want to see them take that next step to make it an easy jump in for a gamer to try it out. And right now, I just don't see it.
Well, I think the counter argument to what you're saying there with having a 2-player set is, if you look at like our history with Blood Bowl, there was a 2-player set for a long time, but how many of the people that we played with actually bought that? Like most of the people bought a team, got aboard, and just rocked.
I'm gonna discredit that example because I don't like that example, because if we were talking about Blood Bowl in 1995, I'd say, yeah, we did all buy the box set. But I don't think Blood Bowl is an anomaly, because that rule book is just, it's like, it's like this tattered piece of, like, a constitution where you're just, it's nothing new. So you're right. You don't need the Blood Bowl box. In fact, we encourage people on old Zlurpcast to not buy the box set. But if you look at most other games, I think it's important to have some kind of easy way to jump into it. If you think back to the games you own, a lot of them did have that. If they didn't, then there was somebody you know and trusted, ideally a gaming club, that said, check this shit out. They bought the initial thing. You said, that's cool. I like this faction, so I'm only going to buy this. So, but somebody had to get it. Somebody has to get that initial jump-in point. So,
right. But with this game not having a faction and then it being the MOBA style where you just buy and choose everything you want, if someone had something, then you buy the starter set yourself, and now you both have everything you need.
Did you buy the Judgment starter set?
I mean, there was nothing. I don't think it's a good example either.
No, I think it's a great example. I bought it because there was 2 models in it, and then 2 like paper dolls or whatever, whatever the people call them. But that was enough to play the game. Then I said, now I want the models I want. Now that first Adepticon where you got me into it, you're right. I bought 2 models on the spot, maybe 3, because they look cool. But I also knew you were going to play it with me. If I didn't have anyone to play it with, I would have had to start with the box. Because you got to have, as all of us know, all of us have gotten other people into games, all of us. So when you get someone into a game, what do you have to provide? Both sides and the rules. You have to. So, you guys have all played. What have you all bought for the game so far?
I bought the starter and a bunch of separate models. I think everyone in our group bought the starter.
Is the rule book in the starter set?
Yeah.
Can you get it elsewhere?
Yeah, it's online too.
Okay.
What's essential in the starter set that you can't get anywhere else are the bounty cards and the Riot gear cards.
Oh yeah, if you can't get the cards, then everyone does have to buy that one.
Well, and the custom dice too.
Yeah, I mean you can kind of get those. Yeah.
All that stuff's available individually, sort of. Like, you can get a different deck of cards from the treasure chest or the spawn gate pack, and you can get those dice. They sell those dice separately for Monpok.
Yeah. But you want all the cards, so you're going to probably buy everything, right?
Yeah.
That's not my personal attitude with this game. And there's definitely people that are going to do that, and I can see that. But I'm just buying the stuff I think looks cool. And
I try not to in those games. I try to, and I, it's a weird thing that we talked about earlier. So playing, on the GW side, Underworlds and Necromunda, both those games come out with cards that only come out with certain releases. I have bought some packs just for cards, but I haven't bought everything. And so I don't know what the norm is with this system of games where there's going to be some people who buy just a little bit to play, people who buy everything because got to have everything, and then some people in the middle like a lot of us fall into.
I'm usually the buy everything crowd myself, but for Riot Quest, because each individual model is not cheap, even for me, the opposite of a hobo.
It looked like that starter set was cheap. I took a look. It was like $50 for 5 models. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like this one's $35. I mean, it's a big chunky model. But
so you get some of the smaller ones, but then some a little something extra.
Yeah, the individual models range between $15 to $20, and they got some of the bigger box sets that like the bike and that are $35. But I think what they did right with Monpok is Monpok had 2 separate starter boxes.
Yep.
Good destroyers and defenders.
Guardians.
What?
Was it Guardians or
Defenders? What?
The defenders or guardians? I always forget.
Yeah, guardians. But this game, I think if there were 2 starters, like again, just random or not random, but 5 in this box and 5 in this other box, 2 people could buy them and then have different models, and you could swap around or whatever. And I think that would be a little better than only having the 1 starter box, because if everyone gets it, and I get most people should, you still have the same 5 models though. And like John says, it's when you get 2 Bamfists and 2 Ioses out there,
that's a cool model. But like Mike and I would fight because we both want Bamfist because he looks awesome. So
one of the reasons I think it's a little more tolerable to have the same model on both sides in this game is because it feels like a video game. So it feels like you would sit down into like a MOBA style video game and you would see, the same people, 1 blue, 1 red, fighting each other. I think that this game gets away with it a little bit more, because I've always hated that too, where you have the same model on both sides. Like, well, why are we? This is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing in this game makes sense. Like, it's set in like a video game type world where it's just a game. It's not supposed to be. We're not creating any cool narrative or anything here. We're sitting down and playing a quick game.
This is another game, I guess, where it's trying to emulate video game mentality a bit on the tabletop, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I'm dead. Respawn.
Yeah.
I'm not connected. No big deal. It's not. It's other games are different, right? We get attached to models. I think in this one, again, I haven't played it, but when I looked at it a bit, it kind of reminded me a little bit of some of the Judgment style of, I don't care if someone dies. That I'm here to get points. I'm here to win a game. Yeah. I'm not here to remember like some historical battle that took place. And like, do you remember when I popped around the corner? Like, nobody gives a shit about that. We've already reset our shit before any of that even happens.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our first game sort of review. Should we do like how many Zlurpees we give it? I just thought of this now.
We can.
0 to 5 or 10 or what?
So let's do, each of us do 1 to 5 Zlurpees. Mm-hmm. And then we'll take the average, and then Biran, you could put that score on the screen at some point. Put it in the description or whatever.
I'll do little Zlurpees in each quadrant for what their score was, and then.
and part of it is much like in America, many of us will have uninformed voters,
right?
Or ignorant voters. I have not played the game. Guess what? I'm going to vote anyway.
Yep.
Xtreme loves the game at this exact moment, so he is also, I don't want to say which side we're on and which we compare to, but. No matter what, he's going to give it a 5, maybe, in this case.
I love this game right now, but months from now, it'll probably be for sale.
Right. So, all right. So, anything else?
No half Zlurpees, only full Zlurpees.
Yeah, they're all full. Now, the average might be a half, but ours will be full, 1 to 5. Anything else we should cover on the game before we vote, or do you think we got the basics covered?
I mean, I think we covered the basics. I mean, I don't think our intent with this channel is ever going to be to go through detailed how to play games and stuff. So I think we covered everything pretty well.
Well, there's other places, much like Zlurpcast originally. There's many other places. Go to Rodney, Watch It Played, all your Gorilla Game, all these other places will have how to play videos. We will rarely have that because we're going to be in our own individual, little dungeons here. But it's us talking about these games. So, I mean, feel free to let us know in the comments if you want more in-depth on rules or more in-depth on collecting, painting, or whatever, but we're just going to kind of go with what we know best, and that is, one of us will know a game better than others. And so that's kind of part of me asking questions on this one, is someone who doesn't know about this game, maybe asking some of the questions that they're already thinking about. How much is it to get in? How many models aside? How long does it take? Are they complex to assemble? Are the rules complex? Is it kind of random, or should I plan out strategies? So I think we covered a lot of that kind of stuff already. All right, so Riot Quest. Xtreme, do you have a 1 to 5 Zlurpee rating?
I do. I want to say, though, I haven't actually played a game yet. So I've got all my models, I've started painting them, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube gameplay videos, but I intend to play tomorrow, actually.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to say it's okay for many reasons. Most of the games we discuss are going to have a hobby element to the games. And we'll probably talk about some like board and card games that don't, but miniature games we discuss have a hobby element. And so you reading the rules, reading the fluff, looking at models, painting models, looking at backgrounds, embracing the story, the game is one part of that. So I think definitely still a valid rating, whatever you say on it.
Yeah, and I've watched enough videos to know the gameplay and that I'm interested in the game still. It hasn't turned me off. At this point, I'm going to give it a 4, but I will say that may go up after I play a few games.
Okay. Biran?
I'm a 4 as well. I've played 3 games, 2 against Mike, one against Tony, and I enjoyed all of them. So yeah, 4. And the whole gamut. I love the models. I think they're going to be fun to paint. It's great. 4.
Get them painted.
Well, I got 1 painted. I'm getting there.
You have it? You want to show it off?
It's in my car.
Oh, nice place for it.
I'll put it on my Instagram if it's not there already.
Perfect. Mike Valdric, what is your rating of Riot Quest?
I was going to give it a 4 as well. So, yeah. I think it's a great, simple little game. I had fun playing it. I wanted to play it more after I left playing. You know, I was like, I couldn't wait to get home and work on some more stuff. And unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to do that. So, but I realize it's not for everyone because, again, that randomness, some people don't, you know, they want the strategy and the meta and all that. But for a good, simple, fun game, again, 4.
Before I give my rating, I want to ask Biran, can we put like little Zlurpees on the screen?
That's what I was going to do. I was going to do 4 Zlurpees to 4 Zlurpees.
I'll give you, like, outside the logo, I've got the one I used for Death Path, the Magic Zlurpee, which is the Zlurpee by itself. So we'll go like, put those up there.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 3, and I'll tell you why. Well, I haven't played, so I'm going in unknown on it. I did do research. When Xtreme told me the topic, I watched a few videos. I looked at some models. I looked at some rules to get the gist of it. The things I like about it without playing are it's on a hex board. I like that. It plays like a board game. I like that. What I don't like, I wish the models were plastic. I don't want to do anything with metal models, period. I'm fucking done with metal models completely. Resin I'll deal with, but I'll get pissed off when I'm building them. I want plastic. I mean, it's 2020. I think I'm past metal models, so that really bothers me. And I think even the resin ones might be a little finicky. I looked at those blades, and I already saw I'm going to put her under hot water, and those are going to be fists if I ever get her. Because
I'm just going to flip them off and make her scissor hands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now she's declawed. I like it. Yeah. You know, -2 to all attacks, but it works. So I'm going to give it a 3 because I think it has promise, but I don't. The modeling and painting side does not excite me whatsoever. So that's going to even it out. I'll give it straight down the board 3. What is that average? Anyone?
3 point something.
5.
Is it 3.75?
Yeah.
Are you going to look or do you want to guess?
I think Mike's right.
Okay. Well, Biran will know, and he'll put it on the screen. Bam! Right there.
Fill the screen with stars.
So that is Riot Quest. Check it out. We gave you many reasons why it's a cool game to check out. And if it doesn't sound like it's your thing, that's okay, because the next episode, we'll probably talk about another game. And we'll have topics about a lot of different games. Make sure to slurp on that subscribe button. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, Biran will take an article of clothing off. When we hit 10,000, he will pull his dick out for 3 minutes on an episode. True story. I just made that up. He's going to have to do it. Follow us on social media at Zlurpcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There's also a Facebook group that's public. You can search it, called Zlurpcast Discussion. We're going to talk more in depth. So if you like what you see in a video, carry over the conversation to the Facebook group. We'll talk about even more. And it gives you a chance to talk about ideas that might give us future topics. And last but not least, Zlurpcast.net will take you right to a store. You can buy a couple Zlurpcast branded items, official items, and we get a couple of bucks to help defray some of the costs. Otherwise, that is Xtreme. I don't know where he is. That is Biran. That is Mike Valdric. I am Jonny P. We'll talk to you next time. What up, Sean?
Peace.